So boys and girls, today we are going to learn regarding the genetics, right? और ये genetics में, right, हम लोगों को क्या पढ़ना है? Principles of inheritance and variation. This lesson it is mainly related with 11th and 12th standard, right? It is useful for the students of those who are preparing for the NEET exam, also those who are preparing for the IIT exam, which is responsible for the admission of इंडियन इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ साइंस। क्लियर? सो बॉयज एंड गर्ल्स, इस लेसन में हमने ये जो लेसन हम लोग को पढ़ना है, राइट, प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ इनहेरिटेंस एंड वेरिएशन, इसमें आज हम लोग टुडे वी आर गोइंग टू लर्न रिगार्डिंग सम कांसेप्ट्स, राइट, व्हिच आर रिलेटेड फॉर दिस लेसन्स। सो हियर जेनेटिक्स, ये जेनेटिक्स, व्हाट इज मीन बाय जेनेटिक्स? जेनेटिक्स इज नथिंग बट इट इज अ ब्रांच ऑफ साइंस व्हिच डील्स विद द स्टडी ऑफ inheritance. Study of inheritance means study of heredity. Study of genetics. What do you mean by genetics? Genetics is a branch of science which, or biology. Genetics is a branch of biology which deals with the study of heredity and variation. Genetics. Genetics क्या है बच्चों? It is a branch of biology which deals with the study of heredity and variation. बायोलॉजी का एक ऐसा ब्रांच जिसमें हेरिडिटी एंड वेरिएशन इसका स्टडी किया जाता है, इज कॉल्ड एज अ जेनेटिक्स। फिर आप लोग बोलोगे सर व्हाट इज मीन बाय हेरिडिटी? हेरिडिटी इज नथिंग बट इट इज अ ट्रांसमिशन ऑफ characteristics from one generation to another generation, or transmission of characteristics from parents to their progeny or offspring or young one is called as हेरिडिटी। हेरिडिटी किसे कहेंगे बच्चों हम लोग? हेरिडिटी, व्हाट इज मीन बाय हेरिडिटी? राइट, इट इज अ process or branch. Heredity, it is a process of inheritance of biological characteristics, from parents to their offsprings or progeny or young ones. क्लियर? मतलब एक जनरेशन से दूसरे जनरेशन के अंदर जो कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स संक्रमित होते हैं, मतलब एक जनरेशन से दूसरे जनरेशन में ट्रांसमिट होते हैं, दैट इज कॉल्ड एज अ हेरिडिटी। इट इज कॉल्ड एज अ हेरिडिटी, राइट? देन जेनेटिक्स में हमने दूसरा एक टर्म देखा है बच्चों, दैट इज व्हाट? वेरिएशन। ये वेरिएशन क्या होता है? जेनेटिक्स के बारे में हमने जब स्टडी किया तो जेनेटिक्स इज अ ब्रांच ऑफ बायोलॉजी व्हिच डील्स विद द स्टडी ऑफ हेरिडिटी, जिसमें किसका स्टडी किया जाता है? हेरिडिटी। हेरिडिटी मतलब जेनेटिक्स में कैसा स्टडी किया जाता है कि भैया हाउ द कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स आर इनहेरिटेड फ्रॉम पेरेंट्स टू देयर यंग वंस और प्रोजेनी और ऑफस्प्रिंग्स, उसका स्टडी किया जाता है। अलॉन्ग विद दिस, इन केस ऑफ जेनेटिक्स दूसरा एक स्टडी किया जाता है, दैट इज स्टडी ऑफ वेरिएशन। स्टडी ऑफ वेरिएशन। वेरिएशन मतलब क्या होता है? देखिए, ह्यूमन बीइंग की बात करेंगे हम लोग, जो आपके आजू बाजू में आप लोगों को मतलब बॉयज गर्ल्स, राइट, मेल फीमेल जो भी दिखते हैं आपको, आर दे सिमिलर? नो। किसी के बाल कर्ली है, हेयर्स ऑफ हेयर, किसी के स्ट्रेट है, किसी के हेयर्स का कलर ब्राउन है, किसी के ब्लैक है, आईज डिफरेंट डिफरेंट, हाइट, राइट, they are differ from each other in case of skin of color of skin, in case of color of eyes, right, in case of height, in case of structure of hair, color of hair, बहुत सारे characteristics है ना, right, structure of nose, structure of face, structure of body, right, ये सभी characteristics different different है, तो उसके कारण हम लोगों को सभी जो मतलब जो इंसान दिखते हैं, right, how they are अलग अलग, they are differ from each other. इसके बाद में हम लोग बात करेंगे with other animals. आप बोलेंगे सर नहीं, टाइगर तो सेम होते हैं, are having similar stripes? No. The stripes which are present on the skin of the tiger, if you watch it or if you observe it minutely, all are differ from each other. Tigers are identified from each other by means of that stripes only which are present on their skin. They are differ from each other. उनका जो पैटर्न जो होता है कैसा होता है, एक दूसरे से अलग होता है. ऑब्जर्व करो, काऊ बफेलो देखो, इफ यू ऑब्जर्व देम क्लोजली तो हम लोगों को उसमें डिफरेंसेस पता चल जाते हैं, राइट. इवन ट्रीज ऑफ बनियान, वडाचं झाड घ्या, बड का पेड़ सेम होते हैं क्या? सभी पेड़ अलग अलग, उनका साइज अलग अलग होता है, राइट. स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ ब्रांचेस अलग अलग होते हैं, होता है ना, बराबर है. उनका मतलब थिकनेस ऑफ स्टेम एज पर द एज, दैट इज आल्सो डिफरेंट, दैट इज आल्सो. तो ये जो भी समझो सेम स्पीशीज के लिविंग ऑर्गेनिज्म में ये जो भी डिफरेंसेस है, दैट इज कॉल्ड एज अ वेरिएशन. इट इज कॉल्ड एज वेरिएशन. ह्यूमन बीइंग में वेरिएशन हम लोगों को बहुत जल्दी पहचान में आ जाता है, राइट. वी कैन इजीली अंडरस्टैंड और इजीली आइडेंटिफाई द डिफरेंसेस इन बिटवीन ह्यूमन बीइंग एज कंपेयर टू अदर लिविंग ऑर्गेनिजम्स. क्लियर? आपके क्लास में जो भी स्टूडेंट्स हैं, आर दे सिमिलर? ऑल द बॉयज आर दे सिमिलर? ऑल द गर्ल्स आर दे सिमिलर? वेदर योर टीचर्स लुक सिमिलर? नो, they are differ from each other, yet all belongs from the same species, all belongs from the same species. Means differences in appearance of the living organism of the same species is called as variation, is called as variation. So variation मतलब क्या है बच्चों? How we can define variation? बोलिए.
Degree by which progeny differ from their parents.
Degree by
Which progeny differ from their parents.
differ from their
Parents.
not only parents, they differ from each other. Progeny differ from their parents. तो फिर क्या सभी progeny सेम है क्या? There are so many parents of human being. तो उनके progeny सेम है क्या? Progeny में भी एक दूसरे से क्या है वो अलग दिखते ना. This is called as variation. This is called as a variations, right? Means variation means differences in between, right, living organisms of same species with respect to phenotype and genotype, right? Differences in between living organisms of the same species same है, लेकिन उनका जीनोटाइप और फिनोटाइपिकली how they are differ from each other. This differences in between living organism of the same species with respect to phenotype and genotype, or with respect to their genotype and phenotype is called as a variation. See here, the skin color of the living organisms, in case of human being, the skin color is different. If it is same, कुछ ना कुछ ऐसे characteristics होते हैं जिसके कारण the two living organisms of human being are differ from each other, can easily identified. This is called as a variation. इसे क्या कहते हैं बच्चों? Variation. Now boys and girls, genetics. इस genetics ये जो branch है साइंस की, इसकी जो शुरुआत है, right? It has been done by John Gregor Mendel, and this is the reason that's why John Gregor Mendel is called as a father of genetics. In 1886, he did work on the garden pea plants. उसके ऊपर उसने रिसर्च किया. उसके पहले किसी भी साइंटिस्ट ने या किसी भी ह्यूमन बीइंग ने जेनेटिक्स के ऊपर वर्क नहीं किया. जेनेटिक्स के ऊपर सबसे पहला काम किसी ने किया बच्चों? जॉन ग्रेगर मेंडल, राइट? सो दैट्स व्हाई जॉन ग्रेगर मेंडल is called as father of genetics. Is known as father of genetics. Clear? After that, another one scientist who is known as a father of modern genetics, that is William Batson. He is known as a father of modern genetics. Batson given 4 different terms to us which are related for the genetics. He is the first person who coined the term genetics. Genetics को genetics कहते हैं. ये पहली बार किसने बताया? Batson ने, right? Batson coined. William Batson coined 4 different terms, which are that genetics, right? Then allele, right? Third one, phenotype, and last one, genotype. Clear boys and girls? फिनोटाइप को फिनोटाइप कहते हैं, जीनोटाइप को जीनोटाइप कहते हैं, जेनेटिक्स क्या होता है, जेनेटिक्स को जेनेटिक्स कहते हैं, अलील को अलील कहते हैं. ये टर्म्स, राइट, किसने दिया दुनिया को? सबसे बैटसन कॉइन. क्लियर? नाउ अनदर वन साइंटिस्ट, he is called as a father of modern genetics, that is a Morgan, right? That is Morgan. Morgan is called as a father of experimental genetics, not moral. Correct, right? Morgan is called as a father of experimental genetics. And Morgan did work on Drosophila melanogaster. इसने किसके ऊपर काम किया बच्चों? मॉर्गन work on Drosophila melanogaster. Clear? That's why he is called as a Morgan is known as a father of experimental genetics. इसने भी कुछ मतलब हम लोगों को कंसेप्ट दी, लिंकेज, राइट, सेक्स लिंकेज. क्लियर? आल्सो given terms, that is कौन से टर्म बच्चों? लिंकेज, then sex linkage, then
crossing over,
crossing over,
cross inheritance,
cross inheritance, and
linkage map on Drosophila,
linkage map of Drosophila. ये जब राइट कंसेप्ट Morgan. Clear? Then one more scientist, he also played a crucial role in case of genetics, right? Human genetics की शुरुआत किसकी बच्चों? Human genetics की शुरुआत, right? किसने की? The scientist, right? आर्किबाड गैरोड. कौन बच्चों? Also known as A. Garrod. That's why A. Garrod is known as a father of human genetics and father of biochemical genetics. Is known as a father of human genetics and father of biochemical genetics. किसे कहा जाता है बच्चों? Archibald Garrod. Archibald Garrod is known as a father of genetics and father of biochemical genetics, right? ये कुछ साइंटिस्ट है बच्चों, इनका काफी क्रूशियल रोल है इनकी फील्ड ऑफ जेनेटिक्स. इनके अलावा there are other scientists also, right, who played a crucial role in case of genetics, right? वो भी हम लोग धीरे धीरे देखेंगे. So boys and girls, genetics, what is meant by genetics? Genetics क्या होता है? Genetics is nothing but it is a branch of biology which deals with the study of heredity and variation. अब बायोलॉजी का ऐसा ब्रांच जिसके अंदर हेरिडिटी एंड वेरिएशन का स्टडी किया जाता है, इज कॉल्ड एज जेनेटिक्स. व्हाट इज मीन बाय हेरिडिटी? भैया हम लोग हेरिडिटी की बात करें तो ये हेरिडिटी होता क्या है? हेरिडिटी इज नथिंग बट इट इज अ प्रोसेस ऑफ ट्रांसमिशन ऑफ biological characteristics from father to progeny or one generation to another generation is called as a heredity. What do you mean by variation? Variation एक ऐसी मतलब प्रोसेस है बच्चों जिसके अंदर लिविंग ऑर्गेनिज्म ऑफ द सेम स्पेसीज एक दूसरे से कुछ न कुछ कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स के रिगार्डिंग अलग अलग दिखते हैं, अलग अलग होते हैं. दैट इज कॉल्ड एज अ वेरिएशन. फिर वो वेरिएशन फिनोटाइपिकल भी हो सकता है या फिर जीनोटाइपिकल भी हो सकता है. उनका जीन मैप डिफरेंट हो सकता है या दिखने में बाहर से मॉर्फोलॉजिकल कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स उनके अलग होते. So that is called as a variation. What do you mean by variation? Variation nothing. Variation is differences in between living organism of the same species. मतलब differences between living organism of the same species. ऐसा नहीं है कि भैया ह्यूमन बीइंग से गधा अलग दिखता है, एलिफेंट अलग दिखता है, बनियान ट्री इज डिफरेंट, सोयाबीन प्लांट इज डिफरेंट, राइट, मैंगो ट्री इज डिफरेंट. ये नहीं है. Differences between living organisms who belongs from the same species, right? So that's variation. Variation is nothing but it is the differences between living organisms of the same species with respect to their phenotypical characteristics and genotypical characteristics. Clear? Is called as a variation. And there are certain scientists who played a crucial role in the field of genetics, जिसका हम लोग मतलब अभी स्टडी कर रहे हैं. क्लियर? सबसे पहले जॉन ग्रेगर मेंडल, ये बच्चों ये सबसे पहला साइंटिस्ट है. एक्चुअली ही वाज अ प्राइस्ट, एक चर्च में धर्मगुरु थे, राइट. उन्होंने in 1886 he did some work on the pea plants, right, regarding the color of the flower, right, the structure of the beans, right, seeds, color of the seed, clear, tallness, darkness of the plant. इसके ऊपर बच्चों of the pea plant, मतलब pea plant के ऊपर इन्होंने काम किया था in 1886. He is a pioneer of the genetics. That's why John Gregor Mendel is called as a father of genetics. फिर इसके बाद में genetics के काम को आगे और बढ़ाया आधुनिक तरीके से, right? That is by means of Batson. So that's why Batson is called as a father of modern genetics. Batson is known as a father of modern genetics. Along with his work, he given some terms which are related for in the field of genetics. उसने कुछ terms को शोधित किया. कौन से genetics को genetics कहते हैं. ये किसने बताया हम लोगों को? विलियम बैटसन ने, right? What are the alleles? Alleles क्या होते हैं? Alleles क्या होते हैं, right? ये हमें मतलब allele को allele क्यों कहते हैं या allele को allele कहते हैं, क्यों कहते नहीं? allele को allele कहते हैं. ये किसने बताया? बैटसन ने. Then phenotype term, genotype term, इसका भी आविष्कार किसने किया? बैटसन ने. That's why we can say now like this, Batson coined 4 terms which are related in the field of genetics, which are that genetics, allele, phenotype and genotype. Then Morgan ये एक ऐसे शास्त्रज्ञ थे बच्चों, इन्होंने कुछ एक्सपेरिमेंट किए, राइट, इन द फील्ड ऑफ जेनेटिक्स. अलग अलग बहुत सारे एक्सपेरिमेंट किए. दैट्स व्हाई मॉर्गन इज कॉल्ड एज अ फादर ऑफ एक्सपेरिमेंटल जेनेटिक्स. मॉर्गन इज कॉल्ड एज अ फादर ऑफ एक्सपेरिमेंटल जेनेटिक्स. और मॉर्गन का एक बड़ा अच्छा मतलब एक्सपेरिमेंट है. ही डिड वर्क ऑन द ड्रोसोफिला मेलानोगास्टर नाम के लिविंग ऑर्गेनिज्म के ऊपर इन्होंने काम किया. क्लियर? आल्सो गिवन द टर्म्स. अब जो एक्सपेरिमेंट मॉर्गन ने ड्रोसोफिला मेलानोगास्टर में किया, so during that experiment he came to know some changes, right? So related to that changes he also given some terms or some concept, right, which are related with genetics, which are that what do you mean by linkage? Linkage क्या होता है? Linkage, sex linkage, crossing over, criss cross inheritance and linkage map of the Drosophila. ये सभी जो हम लोगों को पता है ये किसके कारण? मॉर्गन के कारण. किसके कारण बच्चों? मॉर्गन के कारण. मॉर्गन इज नोन एज अ फादर ऑफ एक्सपेरिमेंटल जेनेटिक्स. देन आर्किबाल्ड जेरार्ड और आर्किबाल्ड गैरोड. आर्किबाल्ड गैरोड is known as a father of human genetics. Archibald Garrod is known as a father of human genetics. Human genetics के बारे में बच्चों सबसे पहले स्टडी किसी ने किया? आर्किबाल्ड गैरोड ने. That's why Archibald Garrod is known as a father of genetics. He is also known as a father of biochemical genetics. Along with this, जो भी एक्सपेरिमेंट आर्किबाल्ड गैरोड ने किए उसके कारण उनको ह्यूमन जेनेटिक डिसऑर्डर का भी पता चला, राइट, जिसे हम लोग क्या कहते हैं, अल्कैप्टोनूरिया, राइट, दैट इज आल्सो कॉल्ड एज अ ब्लैक यूरिन डिसऑर्डर, राइट. Here Archibald Garrod first time studied on human genetic disorder. That is कौन सा बच्चों? This disease also known as, commonly known as commonly called, क्या कहते हैं इसे, ब्लैक यूरिन डिसीज. क्लियर? फादर ऑफ ह्यूमन जेनेटिक्स कौन है बच्चों? आर्किबाल्ड गैरोड. क्लियर? इन्होंने सबसे पहले एक ह्यूमन जेनेटिक डिसऑर्डर फाइंड आउट किया. इसका नाम क्या है? अल्कैप्टोनूरिया, commonly called as a black urine disease. Is called as commonly called as a alkaptonuria, is also commonly known as a black urine disease. Now boys and girls, हम लोग कुछ concept देखेंगे which are related with genetics. पहला concept है बच्चों, did you understand this?
Yes.
Shall I repeat? Number one, factors. What is meant by factors? Factors are nothing but these are the genes which are responsible for the particular characteristics of that living organisms. Factors are responsible. Factors are nothing but these are the genes. Genes क्या होते हैं बच्चों? Genes are responsible for the particular characteristics of that living organism. For example, जैसे हमारे आंखों का कलर, suppose the color of eye is black. Suppose ऐसा इमेजिन करो कि हमारी आंखों का कलर क्या है? ब्लैक कलर के. कुछ लोगों में ब्लू होते हैं, राइट? होते हैं डिफरेंट डिफरेंट कलर की आंखें होती है ना. So for the color of that eye, a particular gene is responsible. Particular gene is responsible for the color of eye, and that particular gene is called as a factor, right? That is called as a factor. These are the particular or specific types of genes which are responsible for a specific characteristics in a living organism, right? Johansen in 1909, right, he terms factor, right? Who? in 1909 term factor. जॉन ग्रेगर मेंडल, इन्होंने भी फैक्टर को फैक्टर या फिर एलिमेंट कहा है. क्या कहा है? बराबर है, राइट. मेंडल term genes as factor or element. क्लियर? मेंडल ने भी इसे क्या कहा बच्चों? ये जीन्स को क्या कहा? जॉनसन ने सबसे पहली बार जीन्स को फैक्टर ये कहा. उसके पहले मेंडल ने सबसे पहले तो एक्सपेरिमेंट किया ना, तो उन्होंने भी जीन्स को क्या कहा? फैक्टर या एलिमेंट्स कहा. वह पर्टिकुलर एलिमेंट इट इज ट्रांसमिटेड फ्रॉम वन जनरेशन टू अनदर जनरेशन. और एलिमेंट ऑफ, फॉर एग्जांपल, एलिमेंट ऑफ रेड कलर जीन इज ट्रांसमिटेड फ्रॉम वन जनरेशन टू अनदर जनरेशन. ऐसा किसने कहा? जॉन ग्रेगर मेंडल ने. किसने कहा बच्चों? जॉन ग्रेगर मेंडल ने. क्लियर? नाउ अनदर नेक्स्ट टर्म, that is next term homozygous. अलील 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 है ना, एक अलील लेंगे बच्चों. बाहर त्याला थोड़ा खूप क्रेडिट करावं लागेल बरं. एक एक टर्म बोलो. अलील अलील क्या होते हैं? Alleles are nothing but these are the particular genes which are present in a given chromosomes, but they are different from each other. They are मतलब gene for the particular characteristics, gene of a specific characteristics which are present on the two sister chromatids of the chromosomes, but differ from each other. Differ from each other. All of you know that chromosome it is made up of by, for example, in case of human being, chromosome is made up of by two sister chromatids, right? Boys and girls, see here. These are the two chromatids, sister chromatids कहेंगे हम लोग. अब यहाँ पर सेम लोकेशन क्या है? Same. But the gene which is responsible here, it is for the height. This gene is also responsible for characteristics same है. लेकिन it is responsible for the tallness, and this gene it is responsible for darkness. So alleles are the genes. Alleles are genes which are present on the same loci, right, of chromosomes, but which are responsible for the same characteristics but opposite to each other. Alleles are, so alleles are genes which are responsible for same characteristics but opposite to each other. How they are opposite to each other? For example, suppose here one gene is present, it is responsible for the color of the skin. Here also gene is there, it is also responsible for the color of the skin. Both genes are responsible for the same characteristics, which is that color of the skin. But this gene, it is responsible for suppose black color gene, black color of skin, and it is responsible for the fair color of the skin. ये कैसा है बच्चों? It is responsible for fair color of the skin, and this gene is responsible for black color. For example, here one gene is there. Here it is also gene, Both genes are responsible for same characteristics. For example, structure of hair. For example, structure of hair. Here the structure of this, but this gene which is responsible for the structure of hair, lekin it is for the straight hairs. This gene is also responsible for the structure of hair, but it is responsible for the curliness, small hairs. Clear? So these two genes are called as alleles. These are called as alleles. Alleles are nothing but these are the genes which are responsible for the same characteristics but opposite to each other. Opposite to,
Each other.
clear? That is called as a allele. Next term, homozygous. Right? What is meant by homozygous living organisms or homozygotic embryo? क्या होता है? The embryo which is formed or the embryo which is produced by means of genes of the parents, right? Or the gametes of the parents. Gametes बोलो, genes मत बोलो. Embryo which is produced by means of gametes, male and female gametes of a parent, having same type of characteristics in it. We suppose the height of the gene which comes from the height from father and mother side, it is similar. Both are tall. Color of the eyes, black color. This black color gene came from the father and black color gene came from the mother side also. The gene which is responsible for the structure of hair, straight, it is came from the father side and mother side also. Means the genes which came from the father and mother side into that young one, if they are similar one, if they are, then that time that living organism is called as a homozygous living organism, and the embryo of that, when the embryo of that living organism it is produced by means of the male and female gamete of its parent, is called as a homozygote embryo. Is called as a homozygote embryo. Means the embryo produced by gametes
Same gametes.
of parents having same types of genes, same types of, उसका जो जीन है बच्चों which is responsible for particular characteristics, वो कैसा है? सेम है. वो कैसा है? सेम. is called as homozygotic embryo. Is called as homozygotic embryo, and the living organism which is produced from that embryo is called as homozygous. Is called as, and the living organism produced from which embryo? Homozygotic embryo. Homozygotic embryo is called homozygous living organism. Is called as homozygous living organism, or just simply it is called as a homozygous. It is called as a homozygous or homozygous type of living organism. Then boys and girls, next term, that is heterozygous or what is meant by heterozygotic embryo. Clear? So here heterozygous. Boys and girls, biology is very easy and interesting subject. If we understand it. If we understand it. What is meant by heterozygous? Heterozygous, a zygote, बच्चा एक ऐसा zygote जिसके अंदर जीन्स पेरेंट से आए, फादर एंड मदर से, फॉर पर्टिकुलर कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स, लेकिन कैसे? लेकिन कैसे? दे आर डिफरेंट फ्रॉम ईच अदर. हाउ दे आर डिफरेंट फ्रॉम ईच अदर. यहाँ पर एम्ब्रियो कैसा प्रोड्यूस हुआ? इट इज प्रोड्यूस फ्रॉम द पेरेंट्स हैविंग सेम टाइप्स ऑफ जीन्स. हियर एम्ब्रियो produced from different types of genes. Responsible for same characteristics. Responsible for same characteristics is called heterozygote embryo. Is called heterozygote embryo, and the living organism produced from this heterozygotic embryo is called as a heterozygous. Clear? And the living organism produced from heterozygotic embryo is called heterozygous. Is called as heterozygous. Clear? Another one term, that is hemizygous. What is meant by hemizygous? In case of human being, in male, 23rd chromosomes, बच्चों हम लोगों में 6 क्रोमोसोम होता है in male and female. But in case of male, 23rd chromosome, right, which is having two sister chromatids. On one sister chromatid, X chromosome is present, and on on another sister chromatid, Y chromosome is present, and both that genes are responsible for determination of different sex. बच्चों जनरली क्या होता है कि सिस्टर क्रोमैटिड के ऊपर मान के चलिए यहाँ पर 2 टाइप्स ऑफ जीन्स होते हैं, सो बोथ आर रिलेटेड फॉर सेम कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स, लेकिन ये यहाँ पर कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स किसका डिसाइड कर रहा है? मेल का, दैट इज फीमेल. समझो ये फीमेल का प्रोड्यूस कर रहा है, और यहाँ पर ये मेल के लिए, दैट इज वाई. मतलब यक्स जो जीन है ये यहाँ पर है क्या? वाई यहाँ पर है क्या? So this type of living organism is called as a हेमिजाइगस. और हेमिजाइगस कंडीशन सिर्फ मेल में होती है, फीमेल में नहीं होती. बिकॉज इन केस ऑफ फीमेल, राइट, बोथ यहाँ पर एक्स ही क्रोमोसोम्स होते हैं, राइट, एक्स ही होते हैं ना, राइट. सो बोथ आर रिलेटेड फॉर द determination of sex of girl. Both are responsible for determination of sex of girl, right, or daughter. Clear? So here, what is meant by hemizygous living organisms? Hemizygous living organism is a living organism which is having two different genes, right, or a gene which is present, or living organism having a gene present on only one sister chromatid. On another sister chromatid, that gene is not present, right? A living organism having a particular gene responsible for specific characteristics present only on one of the sister chromatid. क्लियर? ओनली वन, किसी एक क्रोमैटिड के ऊपर है, दूसरे के ऊपर वो है क्या? नहीं है. इज कॉल्ड hemizygous, and hemizygous condition, it is present in male, right? It is present in male of human. Example, it is example, male of human, right? X chromosome, right? It is present, X is present on one chromatid. X gene, it is present on one chromatid, and Y on another. Y on another. Clear? ठीक है बच्चों? Then next term, last term, sorry, genotype and phenotype लिखे. Right? What is meant by phenotype? Morphological appearance of a living organism because of its genes is called as a phenotype. Morphological appearance of living organism because of genes is called phenotype. Genotype क्या आता है बच्चों? What is genotype? It is a map of gene, right, or constitution of gene. It is constitution of gene. कि भैया वो लिविंग ऑर्गेनिज्म की बॉडी में कौन से जीन है, उस किस सीरियल से है, राइट, विच आर रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर पर्टिकुलर कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स, डोमिनेंट कौन से है, रिसेसिव कौन से, वो कंप्लीट स्ट्रक्चर, स्ट्रक्चरल मैप और स्ट्रक्चरल मैप of gene is called genotype. And genotype map or genotype structure or genotype constitution of that living organism is responsible for its phenotypical nature, morphological characteristics which appears. Clear? These are present. Genotype map, it is present into the chromosomes of DNA of chromosomes which are present into the nucleus of the cells. Clear? And last term, it is a hybrid, 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 hybrid vigor. It is also called as a heterosis, hybrid vigor. Clear? Or it is also called as a heterosis. It is also known as a heterosis. Here see, the young ones which are produced from their parents, if they are more stronger, generally to hoti hai, right? Then by means of the characteristics, morphological, anatomical, whatever it may be, if that young ones are more powerful, having more strength, right? Then that young ones are that process, it is called as a hybrid figure, right? Process of formation of more powerful young ones than their parents, right? ये प्रोसेस है इन विच यंग वन जो प्रोड्यूस हो रहे, वो कैसे प्रोड्यूस हो रहे, स्ट्रॉन्ग प्रोड्यूस हो रहे, देन that young ones are called hybrid vigor or heterosis, right? Means young ones, that young ones produced by the process is called as a, that young ones produced by the young ones produced by that process, right, are called hybrid vigor. Clear? Or heterosis. Understand? Means in case of heterosis process or the hybrid vigor process, young ones which are produced from the parents, how they are? They are more powerful, more strength, having more strength than their parents. Clear? So while these are the certain terms or concepts which are related for the genetics topics.